Like a lot of a lot of 15-year-olds still watch cartoons. You understand this, right?
Huh. Okay, but they're also very aware of what sex is. But like, I knew girls, who were 14, 15. They totally consented. They weren't victims of a crime. I had a 16-year-old girl in my chat that I said I would happily meet.
I'm anti-masculine. Explain. Elaborate on this.
I think you're
different type of consequences.
But do you understand what an example is?
No. I'm just saying, like, there's a different set of consequences. Yes, sir. Yeah, you did say that. You did say that.
This is an interesting topic for me. I don't know how familiar you are with like the actual issue here, but it is interesting because I do think you tend to be. I would say my criticism of you is you tend to be anti-masculine, a little bit.
I'm anti-masculine. Explain. Elaborate on this.
I think you're a little bit of a mama's boy. You have a good relationship with your mother, don't you? I'm sure you do.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, not everyone does.
They should, I think. You should.
Depending on your mother, I think that's true.
Well, okay, yeah, that.
But anyways,
could be the case, yeah.
There are a lot of evil mothers out there. Remember the Garden of Eden. It wasn't Adam. But the issue with consent, and you might not be familiar with this. Okay. The problem with consent laws is who do they clip? Not really girls, right? Who goes to jail? Guys.
Well, yeah, they do face a... Yeah, I actually talked about this on stream recently.
Technically, a female could go to jail for consent, a violation of a consent law, but generally speaking, it's girls.
Yeah.
I mean, it's guys who go to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you see... What does it mean, consent?
So what does consent mean?
Well, why make it 14, 16, 18? Some people say 21.
Yeah, so I think the age of consent has to do with their mental capability of being able to understand the consequences of what comes with sex.
Yeah, right. Okay, I agree with you. So, but it's also biologically being mature, right? I mean,
that's part of how we come to the age of consent.
Technically understand how sex works, but that they wouldn't be able to consent.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't be able to understand the long term. They wouldn't be able to have the capability to understand the long term consequences of sex.
Well, sure they would. You could. There are 5-year-olds who could answer a quiz about the long term consequences of sex
if you trained them on the answers. Yes, but not just off of being able to understand.
Yeah, but it's not really so much like knowledge. It's like maturity, right? To be able to be mature enough, like an 18-year-old can't vote because they're not mature enough, right? But there are 17-year-olds probably be mature enough to vote. Probably 16-year-olds, right?
In some maybe very rare cases, sure. For voting.
There's tons of 17-year-olds who are smart enough to vote, and I think there are tons of 19-year-olds who are not.
That's
smart
probably
enough to
because
vote.
with voting, they'd if a kid takes a particular interest in politics, they can study these things over and over.
Yeah, in other words, nothing really happens when you turn 18 that makes you mature enough to be able to sign a contract, right? There are kids who are 17 who could sign a contract. And there are kids who are 19 who probably are not really mentally capable of signing a contract and following through on it, right? But in our society, generally speaking, when you're 18, you're an adult. The day before that, you're not, right? And so, if you do something when you're 18 years old in one day, you can go in the slammer, for the rest of your life. One day before that, you don't. And there have to be rules like that. I'm not arguing that there don't have to be rules like that, but they're based on sort of like a guess.
Well, it's based on average. It's based on averages. So, the average, the average 18-year-old or 17-year-old doesn't have the capability to understand what voting is. But
yeah, I wouldn't say it's average. Cases. I would say my guess is that you're assuming most people this age have basically what it takes. Not average. Not if half don't have it and half
No,
do.
I would say the opposite. Like most don't have what it takes. Like so, like
well,
so,
like for example,
when you're
driving age 16 and a half technically now here. Is your average 16 and your half year old capable maturity wise of handling a vehicle?
No, but that's why
say,
they start with the first one where you can drive with somebody, right? That's why you start.
No, I know. But let's just skip to the at age 16 and a half.
But there's no way to train for your the sexual consequences. This is the thing. Like you keep mentioning, like these things are like things you can train for. There's no way to train a young girl or a young boy for the consequences for sexual activity.
What it has to do with you have to be mature enough. I understand you could take classes on driving a car, but when I was 16, I did stupid things when I was driving. I didn't hurt anyone and I didn't wreck any cars, but I don't know. You could have argued I should have waited a year, but you learn from experience. I think I was old enough to know what I was doing behind the wheel. I just was an idiot, right? It happens. But I would say you want to say that not just your average, but like by 16, you should be able to handle a motor vehicle. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, with people like under the guidance of someone who's had the license for 4 years and they understand driving very well.
Okay, but when that time period's over, you're on your own.
Yeah, after a year,
right? And you don't have to take a new test about it, right? You just
you do.
You're good.
Yeah, you do take a second test to get your.
However they do it. Okay, but they're like you can pass a test and still be immature. Okay, so. What I'm saying is these are all similar laws, right? I mean, someone could argue that the driver's age should be 15 so kids in the suburbs could get jobs easier, and that you need a car. In America, you can't really take the bus.
Okay, so
other people could argue you should wait till they're 17 because look at the statistics, especially for boys age 16, there's a lot of death and a lot of stupidity. I don't have any skin in the game.
So what could be an argument for lowering it to 14? Like, what's an argument for like a 14-year-old is capable of understanding the long-term circumstances?
Yeah. So part of it's cultural. Part of it has to do with the culture, but part of it has to do with whether kids know what they're doing at a certain point, or whether they're. I mean, it's called rape, right? It's called statutory rape, even if the person consents. Okay, which means it's kind of like taking a retarded person, a severely retarded person, and having them sign something that they're not capable of signing, right?
Well, no, it's not the same though, right? Sex and signing a contract, they're different, right? Different type of consequences.
But do you understand what an example is?
No, I'm just saying like there's a different set of consequences there, and like I wouldn't advocate for both of those.
But I'm saying it's similar in the sense that the person can't really grasp. Like if you were to say let's lower the age for owning a gun to 8 years old, right? Then you're going to have a problem because while a kid could at 8 years old, a big kid could handle a gun. You're just saying they're not mature enough, right?
Yeah, so like handling a gun, like being able to load it, clean it, take it apart, all this stuff. These are things that you can be trained under a guidance, but you still wouldn't be mature to own this gun on your own and then like be,
Probably are 8-year-olds who could handle a gun, grew up around guns, know the rules, and probably with their father go out and hunt, and it's fine. Wouldn't you agree? But I don't think those fathers are advocating that 8-year-olds generally should be allowed to own guns.
Right, like so going out with your father, like because I went out with my grandpa when I was younger for hunting, like so, like like
right. He might have given you a gun. I'm not telling.
Well, he was holding with me. You know what I mean? Like he helped me to feel like I was holding the gun, but he wouldn't like give me the gun and be like, "Here, go ahead, shoot that." Like that's
in the state of Rhode Island.
Right?
In the state of Rhode Island, there's a weird thing I found out about this past summer because I bought a couple of boats. As long as you pass the test for boating safety, you could be an 11-year-old and drive a power boat.
I think that's legally the same here, but you still have to have someone with you. Like you couldn't go do it on your own.
No, you could do it on your own here. I asked them. I asked the people who gave the class. Now, I mean, obviously, if it's a 6-year-old, but I don't know. Boats. Yeah, it's dangerous,
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
not like cars. It's not like cars exactly. A small boat, whatever. I'd be in favor of limiting the size of the boat. So if you got a little outboard and you're fishing, okay, maybe an 11-year-old can do that on a pond. But I don't know, like an 8-year-old drive a yacht? I think technically you could. But anyways, it has to do with like the common good of society, right?
Yeah.
So I think yes, you well, there is such a thing as sex ed, right? And that's part of the school curriculum. So I do think it's not all that different
Yeah, but it
than
also
these
doesn't
other
like
things.
it doesn't so sex ed still doesn't take away like pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, mental health issues, like anxiety,
I
depression,
understand that.
pair bonding breakings, things like this. This like
Right, I
these are
understand that.
consequences long term that these kids don't understand. Like when I was a kid, I didn't understand the concept of death. I jumped off my gym roof when I was younger.
Right.
Like you don't understand the like concept of things when you're a kid.
Well, you understood the concept of death.
No, no,
You
not
just
not actually understood
thought
it though.
you
Like I
were
didn't.
sort of
Yeah,
yeah,
like
I get what you're
we
saying.
think we're immortal almost. So like giving
Yeah.
a kid the consent, the power of consent.
Okay, but that's also true of driving a car. Like you can kill a lot of people by
Yes.
fooling around
Yeah.
and driving.
Yeah,
And
this is
that's
why
something
like
have
you
to
go
live
through
with as
that
long-term
process. Like
consequences.
when you're 16, this is like when most people get to that age where they can start communicating with adults on like almost on an adult level. They understand them a little more better once you hit the age of 16. So like this is why the license happens at this age. You get your G1. Here it's called G1. I don't know how you guys call it, but you get your G1.
Yeah,
You're
permit.
able to drive for a year with somebody that has the license for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then you've had that training for a whole year. Now you get the opportunity to have the license on your own. And at this age, most people can't even afford their own car. So like they get the car in very limited time. So this is why like
Right.
for the greater good, like this is actually works out. But like to lower the age of consent to 14 years old for sex.
Okay, but wait a
There's
second.
nothing
But wait a second. We're
that-
just talking about driver's license.
Okay.
Let's say farm tractors are just as dangerous as cars. Okay, but generally speaking, you can be 14 and drive a tractor because they recognize that a farm family, a kid may need to use that tractor for the good of the family, right? And there are it may be. I think there are like all sorts of federal things here, but like a state like Maine where there aren't a lot of people, they might change their law to 15 for a driver's license just to get those kids so they can have jobs because everybody lives a million miles away. It's just an issue that you're weighing the risks on two sides. Now, I want to ask you with the age of consent, what's the problem with pushing it too high? Like some people advocate that 21 should be the age of consent. Do you understand what the problem is with that? That's a ridiculous age to say that below that age a girl is being raped. That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
Don't you
So
think?
like, yeah. So yeah, I've actually like, I've had this conversation with other people before, and it's like seems like a hot topic with some people. But like, I've said like, the for the age of consent being so like here most places it's 18 or sorry here it's 16, but I say it should be like 18, and you could probably argue me to 17, but you could probably
But why
argue
not
me
have
higher
it be
too.
20?
But
Okay, so let's argue it to 25.
what what's
is
your
the
reasoning for
problem
that?
with that?
Like, what's your reasoning for
No,
that?
I'm asking you why you
Oh,
wouldn't
I don't
wanna
see
just-
I don't see a good enough reason
going
for
on.
it to be at 25.
But but you understand like with driving, right? You're going to say, well, we don't want to start them off too young, but we don't want to keep them from being able to participate in driving, right? So do you understand the two things? I understand you're saying you want to protect people who can't give consent, right?
Well, you're a
Automatic
Christian,
protection.
right? You say you're a Christian, right? I think.
Yes.
So, wouldn't you think it is better to keep especially young girls away from having sex at a young age,
Yeah, I don't
just
think that's
based
a good
off those
idea.
values?
But that's a different thing.
No, I was just I just
well, hold on a second, because you look like Jesus. The Virgin Mary is a lot of times thought to have been betrothed when she was maybe 13 or 14 years old, which would have been normal in that culture at that time. And still to this day, Middle Eastern cultures, a lot of times you get engaged to be married when you're 13 or 14. Okay, maybe it's a little higher than that now, but it's still, more tribal, older cultures. young age of marriage is not uncommon. Obviously, if you get to 10, 9, 8, that becomes ridiculous. But, girls usually hit puberty around 11 or 12, maybe 13. So that issue of like it being pedophilia is not really an issue about any of the ages we're talking about. But the question is, when does a kid know what they're doing in that realm?
Yeah, that's what I was.
And I think there are a lot of 15-year-olds, girls, who know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it in a predatory way.
I think it's different especially with girls, because like they're especially vulnerable due to like their hormones being released during intercourse. So it's
well,
they experience.
But that would be true of all females. That would be true.
Yes,
so
of
do
course.
Do you want to have rape for every act of sex that occurs on planet Earth?
No. But
that's
like
statutory
I said, when you're
women
young,
have hormones.
No. It's just about the fact that when you're young, your capability of understanding the long-term effects that come with sex,
because they have positive physical effects. But that's true of all sex at all ages.
They also have negative effects to long-term, especially like.
I'm not advocating for premarital sex. This has to do with whether it's a crime that you should go.
Do you agree that if the age of
for.
consent was that young, there would be a lot of older men that would just be fucking these young girls and not dating them?
I don't know. Do age of consent laws have a lot to do with behavior? I don't know. I don't think there's a big I know there's a place.
You don't think
Thailand,
we base any
right?
laws off behavior at all?
Look, if you want to say to me, like, I'm a Christian, right? But if you were to say to me, do you think that you should make premarital sex illegal? I would say that is a ridiculous idea.
Right.
It's a ridiculous idea.
Yep.
But,
I agree with this.
you could say, well, why not? Premarital sex is wrong, so let's send everyone to jail who has premarital sex.
Well, you'd have to have a good argument for
culture.
why it's wrong. You can't just say it's wrong. I've been giving you reasons why sex at a young age is wrong.
Well, all of your reasons are the reasons that premarital sex at any age is wrong. But that's not really what we're talking about. It goes against natural law, right? Yes. It's the reproductive system. If you're gonna reproduce, you should have a stable relationship in case that act reproduces another human being. Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. But let's be honest, in the actual fact, we're not living in a traditional society in which, right? So as a way of encouraging people not to have sex at a young age, criminalizing a 17-year-old girl having sex with a 20-year-old guy, it seems ridiculous. I was 17. Those girls know what they were doing. I don't think there are many 17-year-old girls who don't know what they're doing.
So
they know exactly what they're doing.
Well, I wouldn't say they know exactly what they're doing. And
it's wrong.
I would say that
it's not a crime.
I would agree a lot of 20-year-old guys. So say it's the 20-year-old guy and the 17-year-old girl. I'd almost be able to argue that their brain maturation is almost the same. So I think that's why they make these laws where if a girl is under the consent but she doesn't reach over 4 and the guy doesn't reach over 4 years from that girl, I'm pretty sure that's why they made this law in particular, because of what you're saying right now. Because
I understand.
The 20-year-old kid is a dumb kid that's horny, and he's gonna fuck the 17-year-old that offers it to him. So that's why they actually.
I don't think there would be.
I
don't think okay, you take me. I'm old guy. I'm not advocating for this, but I don't see where there would be any problem at why it would be a crime where a 17-year-old couldn't consent to have sex with me.
Well, the reason. So the reasoning for that is because of your age difference,
and in the state of Rhode Island,
your financial levels would be completely out of whack compared to hers. Your power dynamic,
so you're
not power dynamic,
but
power.
Than a girl you're having
what's
sex
the word?
With?
Physical power. Sorry, what?
That doesn't make any sense. You're saying something is a crime if one partner has more money than the other person. That's ridiculous. Well, utterly ridiculous.
There's a lot of different reasons. Because it's easy for you at your age to coerce a younger person, and the younger they are, the easier
But
it is for you to coerce them.
this thing of coercion is something that there's freedom. Like you can do dumb things. I'm not saying you do, but you can do drugs, right? And that's a dumb thing. I'm just saying you could. It doesn't mean someone coerced you if they dealt you drugs, right? And said you're going to feel great about this. You're an adult. It's your fault. We don't need laws to protect you
From drugs?
Right? Well, I mean, even leaving aside the laws, like you're an adult. If you take drugs and become a drug addict, that's your fault. No?
But yeah, but like you don't agree that there's you agree that there's a lot of long-term effects that come with sex, especially like casual
against
sex,
premarital
and especially
sex.
for women.
I'm against all of it. All right, I'm against all of it. I'm against masturbation. I'm against pornography.
Yep.
I don't believe in any of that stuff. But I think this idea of creating a crime where someone has sex with a 17-year-old who's a whore, like that's not a crime. That's wrong on both parts. But she's a whore. I mean, there are a lot of 17-year-olds who are extremely experienced sexually. And I don't see how it's a crime.
Yeah, well, when you go to 17, I've said to you just now, like, I believe it should be 18, and like I said, maybe you could argue me to 17, and...
why not 16? I don't understand. A typical girl
because 16
at age 16
is like,
knows
16
what
is like
she's doing.
literally where you're just reaching that level where you're like capable of having like understanding conversations with full-grown adults.
That's not true.
It's definitely true.
A typical when do you think a girl first sees pornography?
Like a lot of 15-year-olds still watch cartoons. You understand this, right?
Huh. Okay, but they're also very aware of what sex is and have been for years.
Okay, yeah, they could be aware of what sex is. I'm not
could use
arguing
my
that
own-
they don't know what
I
sex
could use
is.
I could use my daughter as an example. I'm not going to use her as an example, but she knows many girls, and she's in middle school. Many girls are engaging in sexual activity. And that's the world we live in. Are those girls victims of rape? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well,
They're low. They have low self-esteem. They're sexually mature. They have low self-esteem, and these are things that, like, I'm not arguing that the age of consent should be changed. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying it doesn't make you a bad person to say one way or the other. But I do think if you say 21, you're out of your mind to say that it is a crime to have sexual intercourse with a female under the age of 21. That is ridiculous.
But you don't find, how do you not find it ridiculous to say like a 13 or 14-year-old should be able to consent?
I don't know these girls, but like I knew girls, who were 14, 15, they totally consented. They weren't victims of a crime.
To other 14 and 15-year-olds?
Or 16, 17, whatever. Yeah, well, why does it matter? Why is it less of a crime?
Well, because the other one's just as dumb and young too. That's like this. There's not one that's what statutory rape is, right? Like that's
you're
why
over
like,
the age of consent.
That's why like
under
if two 14-year-olds got caught having sex, nobody gets charged. Yeah, that's not what happens.
I'm not sure if that's always the case.
That's definitely the case.
Well, if there's a pregnancy, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a question of responsibility. Yeah, I agree with you. But there have been, look, there are situations where lately this like church girl, like this Mormon girl, okay, and I'm not saying that to diss Mormons. She's 15 and she's a whore, okay, and she whores around and gets, pregnant, and then, or whatever, her dad finds out about it. Then she plays, Daddy, you got to protect me, and he wants to kill the guy and ruin his life. And the guy's, 18, maybe 19, maybe he doesn't know how old she is. Maybe she's been lying. Okay, that's not a crime.
Okay, well,
It's
this
wrong,
is a very specific situation you've pointed out, and like, if there was able
there
to,
are
like,
predators. What I'm saying is there are sexual predators who are 15 years old. That's true.
Sexual predators that are 15 years old? Like, so, like,
Yes.
predators as in they're going for older people, but they're the predator?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of one. A girl who's like stacked, right, at 15. That happens. And she goes to a rap concert and wants to, be with the guy. And she wears clothes and she tells him that she's 20. Okay. And he bangs her. Okay. And then it comes out she's 15 and the guy's career is ruined. That sucks. She's a predator.
Okay, well, okay, she's not a predator, and I wouldn't in that situation
She's
that
a
you
fucking
just if she was
predator.
able to like if this was like I'll go with your hypothetical here where it's completely like
She could be a predator.
I know, but she wouldn't be a predator. She would be a young girl that's influenced very easy by clout and fame,
Why
just like a
couldn't she
lot
be
of
a predator?
people, even grown adults.
Why can't a 15-year-old be a predator? You don't think they're 15-year-old assholes?
No, because like she's not.
She's gonna play a blackmail game with him, like you give me $100,000 and I won't tell the cops. Otherwise, I'm gonna say, you know what I'm saying. A lot of this consent stuff.
Well, you keep like moving the goalposts, adding stuff, but like, yeah, like if
Well, I'm
she's
saying
doing
you're
all
saying
that,
it can't be a predator. There are 15-year-old predators.
I think for like a
And I gave you an
15-year-old to be a
example.
predator, okay,
Why
I
not?
understand what you're saying, but like most, like almost 99% of young 15-year-old girls aren't like thinking this diabolical plan like this. They're just
There's a lot of
influenced by
predatory sexual behavior.
some rapper that like
I
they
would say.
like the music.
Yeah, I agree. But look, you were a young guy not too long ago. I was a young guy. Some of those girls are sluts, right? And they're playing games and they know exactly what they're doing. They're not victims, they're not little princesses. I agree with you that they shouldn't be doing this stuff. But they're doing it. And they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but this is like
now, at 12,
I would blame like the parents
at
of
12,
these kids.
You've got a problem.
I would blame like
Okay,
the parents of these
right.
kids as well. Like
Yeah, okay.
kids are very
sometimes-
easily influenced.
But at what point does a person take responsibility for their own actions? I agree with you that if she's coerced into something, but that would be true at any age, but especially bad at a young age. But if it's free, if she's making plans and do this because she wants to feel like an adult, and she's old enough to know how the game works, that's her problem. No, at some age,
Okay,
around
if she
16,
was sleeping
it's
with
her
other
problem.
15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, okay? If
Yeah.
the 16-year-old girl is doing this, okay? The dudes in this situation aren't
Let's say
predators.
she started out when she was 13.
They're young, horny
so she's
boys.
seasoned. She's seasoned.
Okay,
Right? She's been at
yeah,
it for
but
3 years.
I still don't think this gives the right of a now man that is 25 years old to say, hey, that fucking 15-year-old's been fucking dudes hit her age this whole
Well, you
time.
said
Now let me
16.
take advantage of this. Okay, 16.
But
okay.
what if she lies and says that she's 19?
Well, then this is a mistake on the guy's part, and
Oh, he goes to jail.
yeah, I know.
to jail.
Yeah, this is why you have to be like smart about what
So you're going to
doing.
card girls?
I have before, yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Because
well,
like
I mean,
just like you said, I know there is girls that are 15, 16-year-olds that look like they are 21. I know this is a fact. I know
Well,
this
let's say
because
I
I was
taught-
sleeping. Wait, I was sleeping with girls when I was 16, 15 years old that were my age, and I know they looked older than me. I know this is a fact. So because
girls
I
know
know
how to
this is
look
a
older.
fact, as a man, once you're an adult, you need to start taking responsibility. Now, the accountability is on you as a man.
it's on both parts.
Or if you're a
At
woman,
certain point.
like I don't think women should
It's
be
on both
sleeping
parts.
with young boys either. Like I don't think that should be
Yeah, but-
happening either. You got, like,
Look, I basically agree with you, but like I think let's say I was teaching I taught high school, a co-ed high school, just for a brief period of time with girls. I mostly taught with boys. But if you're teaching a girl who's 17 years old, okay, and she's a senior in high school, and you're the teacher and you're the young teacher, I understand ethically, professionally, there's a line. But to say that you've deflowered this girl, if she's a predator, is nonsense. If she's like, had the whole football team and then
No,
you
see,
should
this
get
is
fired.
where-
I agree. You should get fired. I agree. Are you a sexual predator, or could it be that she's the sexual predator and you allowed it to get to where it shouldn't get? I think it's an interesting question. I never had that inclination for people under my care, but the idea that you raped her, if she knew what she was doing,
Yeah, so like you took advantage of a younger like that's what statutory, like you didn't physically rape her, you know, like there's a difference between like
right,
holding
but maybe
someone
she
down
took advantage. Maybe she took advantage too, and she just didn't like
no,
the way it turned out.
no, especially like especially in the situation you're talking about, like there is actually absolutely nothing that like that girl could do to force you into the situation. There's nothing. There's literally nothing.
It's totally not true. You can blackmail teachers super easy by
wait.
You can manipulate. So you don't think young women have an enormous amount of sexual power?
Oh,
because what if
they do? And if if you gave into the power, then she could use this against you. But before you actually engaged with the sex with the young kid, how is she going to use anything against you?
Oh, because she could say, look, I saw the way you were looking at me, and I'm going to start spreading that to other people, that you've been creeping on me unless you give me what you want. They can do that.
Yeah,
now,
of course
you
they
should
could.
be smart enough to say, well, okay, I'm not going to give you what you want. But she might say, well, there's crazy bitches, right? There's crazy 17-year-old girls. I'm not saying someone would cook this up out of the blue, but there are girls who like that power. And I think we should take that power away from them and leave it to the discretion of courts rather than ruining people's lives in these gray areas. But,
well, yeah,
you're
with these
one of these
gray...
people who...
Go ahead.
I had a 16-year-old girl in my chat that I said I would happily meet with her. Of course I would meet with her with grace. We'd fly over together and we'd meet her. Okay,
Did you say you would have sex with her, though?
Sexual predator.
No. Did you say you would have sex with her?
Of course I did.
Then I didn't say you're a sexual predator for that. If you went and had sex with her, that would be... No,
you're lying.
That would be weird.
You're a liar.
Wait, I'm definitely
I said
not.
I would meet with her.
Definitely not.
And you said, oh, that's sus. I'd meet with her. Of course I would. But I would be careful.
It is sus. Yeah, it is sus. But like now you're explaining it. Now you're saying
it's not sus.
But wait, now you're saying like with grace and like you're making it like a family trip.
If I was a country singer and a 16-year-old girl wanted to meet me,
yeah, that's sus.
After the show, there's nothing sus about that.
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
No.
What do you have in common? Wait, Ben. What do you have in common with a 16-year-old?
Human being.
What do you have in common with a 16-year-old?
I would meet with an 11-year-old girl.
What do you have in common?
What I have in common is that's a fan of mine.
So
if I'm a country
the
music
thing
singer,
you have in common is that
girl
she
wants
likes
to meet
your
the country
music.
Music singer after the show and shake my hand and we take a selfie together. You think that's sus shows that you are
after a show, doing
that's
that.
Exactly
of
what
course.
I said, and you're out of your mind.
No, that's not exactly what you said.
And defend
that's
men.
not exactly what you said.
It is what I said.
No.
I'm sick of it.
No, it's not, Ben. It's definitely not what I said.
You need to defend men against these attacks against them. There are such things as predators, and then there's normal interactions. And I'm a normal person, and you're not.
Yeah, but
and I'll see you later.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that was coming. You know how I knew that was coming? He realized he looked fucking horrible here. I knew that was coming. Oh my god, I knew that was coming. He knew. Yo, Ben, I'm a lot smarter than I look, huh? Oh my lord. I'm a lot smarter than I look, eh? Just fucking hangs up. Holy. The running. Look, you can't beat me. I thought I was gonna get wrecked. Another W for SpeakeaZy over here. Let me hear it, huh? Let me see the W's in the chat. Come on, give me some W's over here. Come on, dog. Come on. You thought you were going to come to the undefeated debate champion over here and win? That doesn't work like that, dog. It doesn't work like that. Come on, doggy. Woo! Like, come on. Like, Ben.
Listen to yourself.
What was that? Listen to yourself. Ben, you know what just happened just now? You know what just happened? This is what just happened, my guy. You just got it all over your face, bro. Go clean yourself up, my guy. Ask Grace to get you a towel.
Look, they get into it. I fuck up the mood. They feel it, I kill it, I'm really just spilling the juice out of my shoe. But fuck with the fam, the gunning is something I do. I don't need a crew. It's all on my own and I got something to prove. I'm on the loose. The pity get gritty, I light up the city like Zeus. Fuck on the move. Now fucking these bitches is really just something to do. Loving these bitches is nothing I do.